Hi guys, and welcome to another Watch Geek video and another unboxing and first impressions. Today we're unboxing another watch from China, but this is slightly different than the usual micro brands and mushroom brands that I feature that have like a year or two of tradition and history. This is a Shanghai watch, and Shanghai watch is one of the first manufacturers ever in China, and this year they're celebrating 70 years of existence, and this is their limited edition celebration model called the 1955 by the year that they were founded. So this, just like the Peacocks I review, is one of the oldest Chinese brands that actually has a history and tradition. So let's check out the limited edition to 700 pieces in 1955 Shanghai. So let's open the box, which is quite luxurious, wooden. You naturally have the watch on the pillow. All the documents are in this pouch here. You even get like a certificate of which number out of 700 this model is. You get the warranty. Very cool, very luxurious packaging, and the watch is seated on this pillow that's also signed with the Shanghai 70 years. A very cool, very nice. It looks a very bespoke looking packaging, which is something I always like. And here is the watch itself. This watch is 39mm in diameter, but it has a relatively short lug to lug, and it wears and looks quite thin. I'll have the specs in the corner of the screen. This dimension is the only problem I have with this watch. This, as you can see, is incredibly beautiful. It's a gorgeous silver dial, gold applied numerals and hands that I can't wait to see under macro, because the macro shots are gonna either make or break this watch. The watch is stunning. The story behind the watch is stunning. The brand is okay. I mean, it's excellent because it's one of the oldest Chinese brands. So they have everything, the looks, the specs, everything. If they mess up the finish quality, that's gonna break the watch, because this is expensive for a Chinese watch. It's $700, just under $700. I mean, it is expensive when you compare it to micro brands and, like I said, those mushroom brands that are very new. But if you look at it as a brand that's been on the market for 70 years, and this being a limited edition celebration of their first model, it is actually quite a bargain. They do not cost as much as Peacocks because they don't use in-house made movements like Peacock. Peacock is slightly above them, they're slightly below. I always say that Peacock is like JLC of China because they also make movements for other high-end Chinese brands, while this was actually called Rolex of China back in the day because they were considered the watch to have if you live in China and buy Chinese watches. And the reason being that even though the government was the one regulating watchmaking in China and forcing all the manufacturers to follow the same movement design, creating the Tongji or standardized Chinese movement, Shanghai was actually better than the rest of them despite following the same design, because they simply gave more effort in the quality control and adjustment and regulation part. So they were called Rolex of China. They were the watch to have, and now naturally the quartz crisis also got to them, so now they've revived. And even though they're not probably on the same level, because now they use a Seagull movement ST2130 in this instance, which is a clone of the ETA 2824. So 28,800 BPH, hacking, hand winding, date at 3 o'clock. So a very good movement, but it's probably not on the same level of what they used to do. But the watch itself, like I said, is very stunning. It has very cool details. The tip of the red tip of the seconds hand is very Chinese. I do like the grooves where the numerals are. They go all the way around, and the dial has a sunburst effect at the center. And this combination of silver and gold not only looks cool, but it makes the watch very legible. There is no lume whatsoever, just highly polished hands with a bevel running down the middle. And as you can see, the numerals, like I said, are applied very rounded. Now this is something that I can't wait to see under macro to see just how well it is made. The case itself, like I said, 39 millimeters, and that's the only problem I have with it, because even the finish is done to my liking. So all the surfaces are brushed and you just have these polished bezels in between. And I also do like the fact that the bezel is almost non-existent. You can see it like this, but when you go to the side, as you can see, it's a very, very flat, and you just have the crystal, the sapphire crystal sticking out. Very cool. They do offer a smaller version, but that one is 31, which is way too small even for me. Now this being 39 with relatively short lug to lug is actually okay, and it will fit my wrist. We're gonna test it in a minute. It's just that I personally prefer smaller watches that also look small on my 6.5-inch wrist. So I believe this as a 36 or a 35 millimeter watch would be absolutely perfect. So that's the only gripe I have with it. So let's strap it on to see how it wears. And here it is on my 6.5-inch wrist. As you can see, the watch itself is definitely not too big. It doesn't, like, the lugs don't stick out. It actually looks pretty good on my wrist for a regular person. But I personally prefer when the watch is slightly smaller, so your wrist looks slightly bigger. So I would love this in 36. But even like this, and look how thin it wears. Incredible. This has to be one of the most beautiful Chinese watches I've reviewed so far, especially given the fact it's an original design. As you can see, you have a signed buckle with that ornament logo that looks like a building. Very, very cool. And they do include a cloth, or should I say like a NATO styled strap, but this really belongs on a leather like this. The leather strap is okay. It's slightly too long for me, just like all the other straps. And I do love the fact the case back is closed and it has a beautiful engraving of the 70th anniversary. Very cool. So anyways, that's it when it comes to this unboxing and first impressions. But do stay tuned for the full review, because like I said, in the full review, when I do the macro shots, that's gonna either make it or break it. I truly hope it's finished to a very high degree, like the most of the Chinese watches that I've been reviewing in the last year or two. Because like I said, the Chinese have really made a huge leap in quality and in quality control. When I started this channel, almost 10 years ago, slightly less, the first Chinese watches that I was getting and reviewing, when you put them under macro, you could not only see irregularities, scratches, but there was dust, there were fingerprints, sometimes even pieces of hair from the assembly process. But in the last 2 years, year and a half to 2 years, their quality and their quality control has gone through the roof, where now when I put a Chinese watch under macro, I seriously do not see a difference. I mean, they're so clean, they match my watches that cost $10,000. So I hope this is the same, but we're gonna see. The one thing that I did notice is that when you try to wind the watch, it's pretty difficult because of the shape and size of the crown. So this is one thing that I would change on the watch. I would either put a bigger crown or keep this crown but change the design, because the grooves that you grab are very close to the case, and then you have this polished dimple going out. But this dimple is useless. You cannot use it to turn the crown, so you have difficulty grabbing these because they're very, very close to the case. Once you pull the crown, it's no problem, it's very easy to use. It's just the winding action is quite difficult, and the crown keeps slipping. It's not a screwing crown, and this being automatic, it's not really a deal breaker, but it's just one detail that I noticed. And look at that beautiful dial and those hands. I do love a combination of silver dial and gold hands. Like I said, it's not just legibility, but it just looks incredible. And this watch really has the perfect proportions when it comes to the case, bezel, and dial. I just wish it was smaller. Anyways, enough of me bumbling. Stay tuned for the full review when we put this under macro and see if it's really as well made as it is beautiful. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.